held, and like my female friendships are just so important. My sisters just fill me up so fully. I feel like I could live and die with just the women in my life and actually feel really fulfilled and content. How to set healthy boundaries. I gaslight myself when I feel uncomfortable around men. I'm learning to use my voice and say, I didn't like that. I don't like that you're staring at me. I don't like how close you are to me. You know, I'm still really learning to trust men in all capacities.
Recently, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1 and borderline personality disorder. I am also diagnosed with chronic PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I pretty much knew something else was going on and didn't know exactly what that was, but I knew there was more to my story other than just what I have already been diagnosed with, which was anxiety and depression. I knew I had PTSD, but it wasn't diagnosed by a doctor, so you know, I didn't go around saying, you know, that's what I have, but I kind of knew. I thought I would share what living with borderline personality disorder is like for me and bipolar. I know the stigma around that, and honestly it's been difficult for me too to really digest and come to terms that I am bipolar and have BPD. So there's a lot of symptoms with BPD, and I'll start there, but what it looks like for me is I had a lot of mood swings, like a lot. Think of all of the moods you could have, and I would have that in one day pretty much. And it could be, you know, hours, or I can do this thing called splitting where it could be, you know, upset and then instantly happy. Like I would split. But normally I was always irritated. I would wake up irritated. Everything would irritate me. Anybody would aggravate me. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And then for maybe like 5 minutes of my day, I would be happy, and then I'd go back to irritated. And then very, very sad. Most of my moods are like either extreme or zero. So if I was sad, I was depressed, and most of the time suicidal. I was happy. It was an extreme happiness that was not help me feel happy because again, I have struggled with depression as well. I think the hardest thing for me was telling people around me that I had borderline and bipolar. I was scared that once they heard that, they would be like, oh, she's toxic, she's crazy, which we definitely don't like using that word, but that's what I was worried about. I am slowly, as my medicine starts to help, I am slowly starting to come to terms with it. I know I'm gonna have a lot of downs still, that's just life, but as of recently, after I have been vulnerable with my close friends and loved ones, I have been able to heal properly, I feel. I don't think I ever allowed myself to be completely vulnerable with people I love, and honestly, that was most of my anxiety talking, that people would judge me. The people around me would judge me, when it was the complete opposite. It was more like, oh, that makes sense. Let me learn how to support you correctly. Let me learn how to love you correctly. And that means a lot to me. I had to be honest with myself with my boundaries and how important they were. And I had to express that to my loved ones as well, because I have in the past, I have stated my boundaries before, but I don't think I expressed how important they were, because with BPD and bipolar, it can turn bad like that, for me anyways. If I'm pushed, I don't handle stress very well, not well at all. And I personally, like most people with BPD, would self-sabotage. I thought it was easier to not have friends. So if I was going through like a bad episode or a bad, time, I would push people away. I would tell them, I had a lot of anxiety attacks and, panic attacks and stuff. And I would just tell people around me, like, just don't be my friend, leave me alone. It would be easier that way. I'm done, and I felt like that was the route to go. I thought that, learning all this, I'm not meant to have good relationships. I'm not meant to be happy. And it's not a death sentence, but for me, it felt like one. I felt like, and still feel like sometimes, that it's gonna be so difficult to live with. Thankfully, in this moment, I feel like it's gonna be difficult, but I'm gonna learn new ways to get through it. And so when I have those low times, I will know how to love myself and express to others what I need in that moment. And I never felt that way until I was vulnerable enough to tell my loved ones and friends and everyone around me what was actually going on with me. So I think I'm going to start talking more about my BPD and bipolar on this channel. I obviously didn't go in depth on this one, and there's a lot more to it. Everyone's experience is different. I really want to show the ups and downs of it. I thankfully am now on medication, like I said, and my mood swings are much more level. I don't have many mood swings, and the only thing I feel like I'm really dealing with is, people with BPD are very sensitive. So I do still sometimes get irritated, like, if something sets me off, I'm like really irritated for a good minute. I am spiritual. I am I feel like I was on my spiritual journey. I have also learned that I have to listen to my body a lot more, and if I don't, and not push myself, I don't want to overwork myself mentally or physically. So if I'm feeling exhausted, I listen to my body that day and rest. I think that's one thing that a lot of people, especially in today's society, they feel guilty for taking, a day to just relax and lay in bed and catch up on some sleep, or do some meditating, or just some self-care. So far, I have been I was on my spiritual journey, and I feel like I was climbing, and then I took a little pause, as in I kind of lost myself again during this, during getting my diagnosis, and just prior to, I started to go back down with depression. But luckily, I knew from past experiences for myself that it was the safe thing and right thing to reach out to a psychiatrist and get back on medicine. I did that, of course, and again, I'm still learning what works best for me. Really know the point of this section. I do rant a lot, but I do know the point that I really want to make, and it's the fact that the stigma around those two, especially being bipolar, is dumb, and you're not crazy if you have bipolar or BPD or both, like me. You are loved, you are deserving of love. And I just want to share my journey of healing and awareness that even though I am healing, there are going to be days that I'm still down, just like most people, and our downs are just a little bit different. I just want to be a friend for people who feel alone in this. I want to show the ins and outs, ups and downs, and yeah, I don't want others to feel guilty for what we have to do in order to feel okay. As I go and try and learn the new way to love myself and help myself, take care of myself in the ways I didn't realize I needed until my diagnosis, I hope I can share those times with you guys, and maybe you guys can take something from it. More than anything, I knew other people had bipolar and BPD, but I still felt alone when I got my diagnosis, and I want to help someone else not feel that way. Yeah. I think that's it for now. I tried talking about having BPD and bipolar, and I have a bunch of other disorders, and I just got tired. I've been so tired, and I don't even feel like I explained it properly. And I'm like, should I use that? I should have wrote down, the points I wanted to talk about when I wanted, all that. Then I realized this is the type of stuff I wanted to share in the first place. I've been extremely tired today. I am not depressed. I'm just tired. I'm in a women's support group, and it's obviously very common. A lot of us are either, I will add in that I have not had any like manic episodes or anything like that in maybe a good minute, at least 2 weeks or whatever. So I don't think, sometimes it's hard to tell what was a manic episode. Sometimes I'm very aware of what's happening, but yeah, in the women's support group, it's either one extreme or the other. You're either like, there's a lot of people like me who are very, very tired all the time, and feel like they can't get enough rest. And then there's people who are wired, and usually they're probably manic, and don't sleep really, which when I have a manic episode, obviously I don't really sleep. And for me, I didn't sleep well last night, but I think it's because it's the first day of my moon cycle, and I started in the middle of the night, so I had to wake up in the middle of the night and change my sheets, which has not happened to me in a long time. Yeah, it's weird, different for me, but yeah.
I'm already tired.